Hello. Today we are going to be talking about Ahsoka. The finale just dropped yesterday. It was a doozy. Awesome. Especially when the Night Troopers came back to life and they were all like, and they were fighting Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra. That was awesome. The Night Sisters really shined in this episode. Let's get into it.
And our boy Ezra has gone home.
He finally got there. And
Yeah.
surprisingly, spoiler alert, by the way, he's the
Yes.
only one who got home.
Yeah. Spoiler review. Thank
I
you
don't
so
know
much.
why they did that. Like, again! Freaking again!
Okay. Well, all right. Thank you. Welcome. This is Father Son Galaxy. I am Kerwin. This is Keith.
Hello.
As Keith said, yes, we are going to do a spoiler review of episode 8 called The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. All right. Written by Dave Filoni and directed by Rick Famuyiwa. So now,
And this was
you,
honestly
okay, go
like
ahead.
it was like an Infinity War situation where the villains win.
Did he really win?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I mean, they escaped and the heroes are stranded on a faraway planet now.
yeah, I got you. Okay. All right. Well, okay. Let's go into it. So this is the last episode of the season. When we talk about these episodes, we're always talking
I
about
can't believe they did this to us.
Sabine is a character that we can't stop talking about. Ahsoka,
Mostly for
obviously.
her bad decisions.
Well, any decision, she stood out. Balin Skull and Ahsoka, of course, and now Ezra. But one character that we don't talk too much about.
Shin.
No, not Shin.
Morgan Elsbeth.
Morgan Elsbeth. Yes. So it's very interesting because she was always the one in the background. She's standing next to Thrawn most of the time, or she's the one who's actually trying to lead the people to where they needed to go. But once she and Thrawn got together, she's kind of like, okay, well, she was kind of like the doubter, the doubting Thomas.
She's like, are you
sure, Thrawn? Is that the right way
She
to do it?
was the doubtful David of
She
the
was
situation.
very doubtful, right? So she stood behind the
I gotta
scenes.
make like a pessimistic ABC, like Debbie Downer, bothering Betty.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
Egregious. I'm trying to think of a good name.
Ernie.
Egregious Ernie.
Okay. So Morgan stood out in this episode. Okay.
Annoying Alex.
Diana Lee Anasanto. All right. This was her best performance as Morgan. Let's talk about.
And Morgan Elsbeth had a role.
Yeah.
She died.
Boy, you're all over the place. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. So I want to talk about that initiation.
So basically,
yeah. Go ahead.
The Nightsisters, as we know, they're a cult, and it showed this episode.
Mm-hmm.
They basically they had an initiation ceremony, and they turned Morgan Elsbeth's eyes black and gave her the Nightsister markings. So she is a true Nightsister now.
Yeah. So she went from a part-time witch to a full-time witch.
She got promoted at her job.
Yeah, and honestly, I thought the markings on the night or the great mother's faces was makeup.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah,
I thought that was like decorative. Like, you know how Dathomirian tattoos vary from person to person because they're usually added on as part of their culture.
Yeah.
I thought that's what that would be. Like, they have to add on the makeup later, but apparently that just comes with being a Nightsister.
Yeah, that's branding what they're doing. Like, put these permanent markings on her face. And what'd you think of the mysticism and the ghoulishness of them, with the hands and the sound effects and the visual effects? Yeah, I kind of like it. And I'm not really a type of person who's into scary or horror. Not that it was either one, but just the tone. I wouldn't expect to see that happening in Star Wars, but it actually
I would
worked.
expect that from maybe a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Even, but you gotta kind of go looking for that. But then again, there was that arc in the Clone Wars where there was like the zombie Nightsisters, I think, at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to revisit that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, she is branded and now she's this full-fledged witch. And she's also given a weapon. All right. A weapon called the Blade of Talzin, named after the great Mother Talzin. If you're a clone
Yeah, if you're
trooper
a fan,
of the
you'll
Clone
know.
Wars, right? If you're a Clone Wars fan,
If you know,
uh,
you know.
yeah. So she is very prominent. One of the more popular Nightsisters.
One of
Uh,
the more known
yes,
Nightsister.
and she used the same blade. I don't think it was named after her at the time, but they named it in her honor. But she used a blade similar to what was given to Morgan during a battle with Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
So
interesting.
she was really armed to the teeth at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
And basically her task, find Ahsoka
Hmm.
and make sure that she does not escape. By the way, I feel like Thrawn is overexhausting himself and his resources.
Tell
If
us.
he would just take Morgan, take Balin, take Shin, and go now, then he could save a lot of manpower because he's going to all this trouble to hunt down, Ahsoka and Sabine and Ezra. But the issue is that he was stalling for time because he wanted to exterminate them. But the thing is, if they don't make it out of space, and if they don't make it onto your ship, they die anyway because there's no way they get off the planet. So why is he so hyper focused on like taking them down himself
Yeah.
rather than letting them just waste away?
Yeah. For some reason, I think Thrawn just took too much time. Well, gave them too much time to even get on the ship.
Because
I mean,
Ezra got on the ship, and the fact that he even did that, like, it's surprising.
yeah, I just don't. I didn't understand Thrawn's tactics. I really felt that by episode 6, he could have been out of there. He
Yeah,
could have
he could have
taken
been
off in that
zooming.
ship. I know there's this cargo, and we still quite don't know what this cargo is,
I
but
mean, we had to stall for time to let the heroes have a
yeah, but that's
chance.
my point. I mean, like, why? You know, it's because if you want the heroes to find them, they'll find them,
You
right?
know what?
But to get to the point where you got the heroes right there, like just a few feet away, and one of them makes it, like you said, and the other two don't. What was the point? You could have just left them all stranded there. A win for me for Thrawn would have been, he left Balin, Shin, Ahsoka, Sabine, all of them, including Ezra. Ezra got lucky. We'll talk about how Ezra got on the ship,
By
but
the way, did Ahsoka and Sabine just forget they could force push? Like, Sabine used that same move to force Ezra across to get to the ship. So why didn't they just force push back Morgan Elsbeth and the troopers, and then jump back onto the ship so Ezra could pull her and Ahsoka back on? I know that would buy them more than I know it will buy them like 5 seconds before Elsbeth and the troopers get back up and start fighting again, but. They could have done that, and then while they were clambering and trying to collect themselves, they could just force jump, and Ezra could carry them the rest of the way.
okay. All right. I want to talk about Ezra, I'm sorry, Sabine and Ahsoka. Well, let's start with Ezra. Ezra, lightsaber, right? He's on the ship with Huang. He's creating his own lightsaber. That was pretty cool. I'm happy that
And it was
he
blue too.
decided, right? He decided that he is going to use a
Yeah,
lightsaber
it was like I
after,
said
after
during
all.
it was like I said during the review. It's not that he turned down
Yeah,
having a lightsaber; he turned down having his lightsaber,
very good point.
Sabine's
Right.
saber in particular.
So he didn't want to take Sabine's because he gave it to her. So he needed to just create one of his own. Perfectly fine. Now, let's talk about the conversation with Sabine and Ahsoka. Seems like they've made up, right? Remember what happened a couple of episodes ago where Sabine left. So Ahsoka didn't know if she was alive or dead. Of course, it turns out that Ahsoka is, well. But Ahsoka was a little upset that Sabine decided to go with the villains and not really stand up for her master. But everything seems to be okay. All is well, which I like the conversation because Ahsoka was right. There are some times back when she was younger, she made decisions that some people would have thought was ridiculous, was out of the ordinary or too extreme, and not everybody had her back. But except the only person who did was Anakin, right? Anakin was the one who always supported her no matter what she did right things right or wrong, but she had a very good point. And especially she was referring to when everybody turned their back on her, referring to what happened to her at the Jedi Temple with
Yes, the
the
Jedi Temple
yes, right, and
burning.
being charged for a crime that she didn't commit. Yep, that was the reason. So
That
she forgave
was.
us. She forgave Sabine. Okay, all right.
I wouldn't, frankly.
Okay, well, tell us. You wouldn't.
So
Yeah.
I feel like they just made Ahsoka pacifist for no reason. I mean, like,
You thought
if
she forgave Sabine too easily?
yeah,
Okay.
she was too calm. Like I was figuring we'd see some tension between the two of them, because she literally left Ahsoka for dead to go chase dreams. I mean, she's lucky it paid off, but like, if I'm Ahsoka, I'm gonna be really mad.
Yeah. Well, now anger is not Jedi like, right?
I know it's not Jedi
Yeah.
like, but
Well, yeah.
Ahsoka's been every Jedi has been angry before.
That's
Mace
true.
Windu's been angry. Obi-Wan's been angry. Anakin's been angry.
Luke.
So
Yeah.
Luke's been angry. Vader's been angry. Palpatine's been angry.
I
So
get it.
why would Ahsoka be the exception?
I get it. Yeah.
Like every Jedi has emotions. They're
Yeah.
just told to conceal them.
She seems to be more at peace. I think the conversation that she had with Anakin in the World Between Worlds might have changed something in her.
But she was too at peace.
Too at peace. Okay. I can.
Like I understand that Ahsoka's changed, but she just straight up forgave Sabine. There wasn't even any hemming and hawing. There were no ifs, ands, or buts. She wasn't even trying to be highfalutin or anything like that. She just said, "Yep, I forgive you."
Mhm. Got it. All right. Let's talk about the Night Sisters a little bit more. This dark magic. I'm a little. I'm concerned. Imagine me saying this. I'm concerned for Thrawn. Thrawn, I don't know why he is in collaboration with the Night Sisters. I guess
Well, power
he did.
recognizes power.
Well, okay. Well,
I think
good.
what he needs is
Yeah.
like the Night Sisters were really coming in clutch in this finale. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
think about it, they revived his night troopers and made an undead legion to fight against Ahsoka and Ezra and Sabine. And they also gave Morgan Elsbeth a blade of Talzin. So
But
they were honestly helping out quite a bit, but I'm shocked. I thought Thrawn would have left them behind or gotten rid of them. But first of all, they're going to Dathomir, and secondly, I think the Night Sisters are too powerful even for Thrawn. Like, their magic is the only thing holding together his night troopers, if you think about it. So if he ditches them, they can turn his night troopers against him, and even if they don't, they can just fight Thrawn, and it'd be nigh on impossible for him to fight back alone.
I like this conversation because you have a very good point where you said that power power together. That's wonderful. But Thrawn has no love for force or magic,
No,
right?
he
Because
doesn't
he
like
doesn't
Thrawn doesn't
understand it.
like anything he doesn't understand.
Right, he doesn't understand it.
It's
So,
like how like human blood cells or white blood cells, they don't care for anything they're not familiar with, so they'll attack it.
yeah. Well, I see that he maybe didn't have a choice.
Yeah,
He
honestly.
needed an army and didn't know how to get one. So the Night Sisters decided, okay, well, we can create an army for you.
And I'm sure they needed to escape too.
Yeah, and not
Like I'm sure
only
they didn't want to be stranded on Peridia.
right, and not only can we create an army, we can create an army of the dead if you really think about it. I mean, so let's talk about the scene where Ezra and Sabine are, they've reached the tower and they're trying to get up to the top, and then you got the night troopers coming and they got the lightsaber and they're knocking them down, Sabine with the blaster. And then the great mothers, create this magic or this potion, and they're saying these
It's a
words,
spell.
a spell. They cast a spell,
Mhm.
and these troopers who were once gone
They
had
were
now
once one with the
resurrected.
spice, and
Right.
that spice came back.
And yeah, and resurrected. So once again, okay, zombie troopers. Who would have thought we would see this in
I
Star
sure
Wars?
didn't.
Yeah. Um, it's again, I'm not a fan of zombies. I don't, I've seen zombie movies. I'm
You have.
I'm not drawn to them. I'm not into those. I'm just not into it. But it worked here. It wasn't graphic or anything like that, so it
I mean,
wasn't anything to worry
thematically, they
about.
had their
Yeah,
helmets on for this reason,
right.
except for that one dark trooper
Yeah,
or night trooper, shadow trooper, whatever we're calling that thingy.
yeah. So,
Um,
so it's
the
interesting.
black one. You
Yes,
could see his mouth, and he was trying to bite Sabine. So
right. Exactly. So you can see that they've fallen down, and then all of a sudden, Sabine and Ezra and Ahsoka think, oh well, mission accomplished, and then they turn around and they rise up again, and you know how the undead, they're walking, slowly and creepily, like in a thriller video, and
this is
yeah,
thriller,
exactly,
thriller.
it's well, how often are they going to do this? I mean, so when they knock one down, then they get back up, knock them down, and get back up. That's going to get tired after a point, right? So, what else can the Night Sisters bring to the table besides the rise of the dead? I
Then
I,
again, I'm
I
sure
still don't
those night
understand.
troopers were there making.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're the
well,
ones who
yes, right,
provided Thrawn with that army.
but I don't see how far the sisters are going to go. And you did have a good point. The Night Sisters are very powerful, and to me, I think they're more powerful than Thrawn, right? So I just don't see this collaboration working out for too long. Either Thrawn is going to get rid of them, or well, the sisters can't take out Thrawn. Thrawn is the baddie, but somehow Thrawn is going to separate himself from the Night Sisters, and then who else can he turn to? Who else is he going to? Where else is he going to find troopers? I guess when he gets back to his galaxy, he may be able to recruit new stormtroopers and night troopers. We'll see. But it's just it's a very unusual combination having Thrawn and the Night Sisters. That's all. Okay.
Thrawn and magic.
Yeah, Thrawn. It just doesn't go. It does not go. Yeah.
All right, so
Okay.
this is like video game final boss type fight. So they're trying to climb the tower to get onto the Chimera, and each level's got new enemies. Like first off, they have to fight stormtroopers that rise up again as undead, and then they gotta run up, and then they go to fight Morgan Elsbeth and her army of troopers, and then on the final level, they're followed by Morgan Elsbeth and her troopers, and they gotta get to the Chimera before it takes off. So Sabine and Ezra are running, and they manage to escape. They take out the Death Troopers. That's what it is. They take out
Yes.
the Death Troopers,
Yes.
and they are about to get on. And Sabine says, Ezra, jump, and then I'll force push you. Trust me.
Before
You
you
gotta
get
trust me.
right, but before you get to that point, you want to talk about the first time Sabine finally used the
Oh yeah,
Force.
she got held up by the Night Trooper,
Right.
the
Okay.
Death Trooper,
Yeah.
and then she's like using the Force to grab her saber. And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
she
Secret.
catches it.
And what did you think of that moment? Did you think that it was going to happen? It was going to be
No,
inevitable. You didn't think that she was going to connect to the
no.
Force.
I mean, they set it up like she was going to, so I
Yeah.
figured it. I just didn't want it to because that didn't make sense.
I'm with you. I absolutely 100% agree with
Like,
you.
how is it that she's been around 3 Force sensitives during the time of Rebels and
Yeah.
not one of them picked up on it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Not even Vader picked up on to be Force sensitive.
So this is just creator's choice. We
I guess
know.
it kind of needed something there.
We know. I mean, it's fair to say that, like you said, since we've known Sabine, there was never any
And Sabine just kind of
inkling that she
catches her
had the
saber.
Force. Nothing that gave any type of indication that she had the Force up until now. But now she has it, and she's very strong with it very quickly. But to her credit, now if you go back to 1980 with Luke Skywalker, right, in the snow, he's caught by that Wampa creature, right? We didn't know if Luke was strong in the Force, right? And it didn't happen until that moment when he um, was able to pull the lightsaber out of the snow
Yeah, but
and pick it up and grab it. So what is the difference?
Thing, Dad.
Yeah.
We had only seen Luke once before, and we barely even knew what the Force was. Whereas with Sabine, we've seen her 4 times already.
I got
We
you.
saw her in 4 different seasons of
Yeah.
Rebels, and then the finale, and nobody ever even hinted at her being Force sensitive. So now
Excellent
all of a
point.
sudden,
Excellent point.
it's
Yeah.
like she's Force sensitive,
Yeah.
and she got a lightsaber. The lightsaber I understood because it's like, it's a good thing to be a Mandalorian trained in a lightsaber.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden she's Force sensitive, and nobody else picked up on this.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I thought the fact that they used that as a main plot device to get one of the main characters back home, the fact that this show was so heavily reliant on that in the finale, that was kind of a shocker because all she did was pick up a lightsaber. I mean, grabbing objects with the Force is pretty basic training. So, remember, Luke used the Force to fire a proton missile in a precise shot and blow up the Death Star. We knew he had the Force by the time of A New Hope. So, and he'd had 3 years between then. That was like an internal Force ability. Like, internal Force abilities are like mind tricks, focusing your mind and stuff. Whereas external Force abilities are like the Force abilities we think of, the Force pushes and pulls, grabbing objects, um, catching blaster bolts, lightsaber tricks, that stuff. That stuff's like external Force abilities.
That
So,
makes perfect sense.
but the fact that
Yeah.
Sabine never showed any internal or
Yeah.
external Force abilities,
Right.
and nobody ever picked up on her being Force sensitive nor hinted at it
Right.
in the entire 4 years we knew her, is shocking. And
Yeah.
then, like, Rebels ended in 2018, right?
That's about right. Yeah.
So 5 years later,
Mhm.
and Sabine's Force sensitive all of a sudden?
Yeah. I get it. It's a hard sell. And you're right. Let's go to Q&A. Let's see. This is a very good conversation. I want to keep going with this, but I want to acknowledge, those of you who are on the live stream. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Those of you who are on Instagram, wonderful. Leave a comment. Let's discuss. This is a very interesting topic. I like this. So yeah, yeah. So do we
Good
have
content.
So
Let's clip a short from this.
So do we have a Q&A? All right. So Sabine suddenly becoming proficient in the Force came too quickly. Yes. I thought it should have been more gradual. I agree
Honestly,
with
yes. If
Yes.
they had showed us even signs
that. Yeah.
in Rebels, it didn't even have to be the entire show. It could have been season 4 that they hinted at this.
Yeah.
And I would have been just as fine with it.
Yeah.
Then it would have made sense from a storytelling perspective 10, 15 years ago to be hinting at her Force abilities, and then later on in the Star Wars timeline, we showed that she is Force sensitive.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of thrusted upon us in an 8-episode series.
Yeah. Very good. And Alex says, great point, Keith. Ahsoka did forgive Sabine a bit quickly. I think it's okay for her to forgive Sabine, but it probably could have been more gradual. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again.
If I'm Ahsoka, I don't trust Sabine anymore. Like, if I have explicitly told Sabine that I need her help, and Hu Yang has also told us we need to stick together, and the first thing Ahsoka does is leave me behind and go right for the enemy, and Sabine just walks right off. If I'm Ahsoka, right, I'm not gonna trust her anymore.
Agree. Yeah, I can understand that. All right. Any more Q&A? I agree with Kerwin. It would have been better to let Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka be locked in battle with Balin and Shin and have them destroy each other, divide and conquer, and leave. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, that makes sense. And if you really wanted to seal their fate, just send like a small fleet of night troopers there. And then that way, they could just finish them off and support Balin and Shin.
Yeah.
But then again, Thrawn saw multiple times that they weren't doing good.
Yeah.
Also, did anybody else see that fake out? Like, I was actually scared for a second there when that ship crashed because of the aerial assault.
You were talking about Hu Yang's ship?
Yeah, when
Ahsoka?
the Jedi Starfighter crashed with Hu Yang and Sabine in it.
Right. Well, did you think that there would be any casualties? I mean, it's Sabine
No.
and Hu Yang, right?
I didn't think so, but
Yeah.
I was just like, that seemed like a hard impact, if you know what I mean.
Well, sure,
Like if
right.
you're in a multiple ton metal cruiser that slams right into the ground. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know about you, but I think I'd be dead.
Well, yeah, right. But this is
I think
fantasy.
I'd be one with the spice. I
Yeah.
think the Night Sisters would have to revive me.
Yeah. I want to come back to, finish up talking about Sabine and her force sensibilities. You have an excellent point, right? We Right. We were understanding back then. I know you weren't here back in '77, but we were understanding what the force was, how it worked. We know it was mystical. We knew that, some people had it, some people did not. Some people believed in it, some people didn't. But we knew that Luke, there was something special about him because, I had this Obi-Wan Kenobi person come by and say to him, well, I want you to learn the ways of the force because your father was such a great, you know, a great Jedi, a great pilot. So you could be just like him. And you say, okay, well, Luke said I do want to be like my dad. I want to
And
learn the
that's how
ways of the Force, right?
Skywalker.
So we knew that something was there. Maybe we didn't see it until, like you said, that during the Battle of Yavin when he
Dad,
actually
look,
used it. Right.
I'm force sensitive.
That's very good. But now, okay, now taking that and comparing it to what we saw last night, Sabine, you're absolutely right. There was no clue, no inclination that Sabine had this force
And
sensibility
Sabine
up
was
until the time when it was she was in a life and death struggle, and she needed to do something, and she pulled the same trick that Luke pulled, back in Hoth.
and yeah,
Right.
honestly,
So it
Sabine
was a
was
hard sell. Yeah, it was tough to.
and Sabine was too confident in herself too quickly. Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't have self faith, but I'm saying if all you did was lift a lightsaber and you're thinking that you can push the weight of a full person
Hmm.
onto a ship that is quickly ascending as
Right.
you speak.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure you want to make that statement, Sabine?
Yeah. And not only that, okay, all right, she used the force this one time, she grabbed the lightsaber, but then she used it again in an even bigger moment, which, okay, I don't know how you go from like having this amount of the
I
force
mean, she could lift
to
a
this
cup.
amount of the force
She
in
could
such a
lift a
short period
cup
of
in
time.
episode 2. She
Exactly.
could lift a cup,
But she could
everybody.
lift Ezra, from the platform onto the Chimera. Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
bet Ezra's like 150 pounds. So she lifted a 150-pound Ezra
yeah,
Bridger into the air
and
onto
she,
an ascending Star
yeah, yeah,
Destroyer as there's a massive fight going on with stray blaster bolts going back and forth.
yeah.
And she felt confident enough to do that. She could lift the cup in absolute quiet.
Yes, right.
No one was
It
bugging her.
it
Up until,
happened.
they Huyang
It
called.
happened too much too fast. I think, but
Yeah, like if they had
it
established
was,
it in episode 7 a bit more,
yeah,
and then
right,
we put some
or even
time
before
between
that.
7 and 8
Yeah,
so that
right.
we could see Sabine's abilities evolve a bit,
What they
you
could
know,
have done was actually show us maybe in the first episode, because there was a time gap between when Rebels ended and the Ahsoka series began, right?
10
So
years.
anything could have happened in between. I think we would have maybe believed it more, or would have been comfortable with it, knowing that Sabine, is this, she's learning how to use a lightsaber. She knows the Force very well, something that she might have picked up when, in between that time, between the two shows. I mean,
And
it's
by the way,
possible,
guys,
right?
we're inviting you to ask us any questions you have. So if you have anything you'd like us to know, or if you have anything you need answered, just type it in the comments and we'll give you a reply.
Okay. All right. So great. Okay. So now here we are. They're trying to get to the Chimera, the Force push. Ezra is on the ship. Now, let's talk about this battle, this epic final battle between Morgan and Ahsoka. That was awesome.
Ooh, it was awesome.
That was
And you know
awesome.
what? They made Morgan Elsbeth look like a competent opponent
Yeah.
when the opponent is a woman who has been practicing the lightsaber arts for 30 years prior
Yeah. Right. So,
and is also literally a master of the Force.
yes, exactly.
So,
The choreography was wonderful. The stunt work. Yeah, it was intense, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the way it was filmed, and you know,
And Morgan Elsbeth
yeah,
actually managed to slice one of Ahsoka's
yeah.
lightsabers.
How about that? So that's powerful, right? So that's the nice system magic right there, right? So Sabine has to make a decision. Does she
She
get on the ship, Chimera, or does she go back and help her master? I
guess
think
which one she picked.
I think she made the right
She
decision.
deserted
Now,
Ahsoka.
can we just give Sabine credit for making a good decision? For making a good decision?
Yeah,
Is that you? I think she made the right choice.
she made the right choice.
Yes, absolutely.
Finally.
Now, what that did, okay, well, let's finish up talking about the fight. Well, boom, boom, boom. Morgan's gone. All
Yep.
right.
Like,
Okay.
you know that weird hissing they do when the magic goes away. They're like
Yes. Yes. Right. Yeah.
that.
And it was a cool move how she took out Morgan, but
Used her
behind the
own blade
back.
against her.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fantastic. All right, let's go to Q&A, and we invite you to come on in and give us some comments or some questions. Let's go. All right. Alex says her abilities came too quickly. I think that 8 episodes weren't enough. Either that or have longer episodes and have things be more gradual. Yeah. I
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was just too much
Hmm.
in
They went from zero
in
to
a span
50.
of 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Right? You go from picking up a lightsaber, you know, to pushing
Yeah, they went
a
from
grown
zero.
man, onto a ship. Who knows how many feet away?
Yeah,
That
like I
yeah,
said, 0 to 50 in like 10 seconds.
yes. Any more Q&A? What do we have here? All right,
All right, Zavenge. Hello,
Revenge.
yeah, I wanted to
Thank
ask
you.
about. By the way, welcome, new viewer.
Yes.
Sound the confetti.
All right. Very cool. Welcome.
Hello, yeah, I wanted to ask about the whole meeting between the ending with Balin. We saw the mortar statues and Balin looking at a light in the distance.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it might be World Between Worlds in
Yeah.
some way. Because
Yeah.
if you notice, we're seeing the statues of the father, the daughter, and the son. And you know how the father was the one holding the portal in the Lethal mural? Where here he has his fist extended and it's a giant fist. So maybe there's like some sort of magic that needs to, like, maybe there's some sort of unlocking that needs to be done in order for them to be able to open the portal. Like maybe there's something there that Balin has to do because he said he had another journey, but we never really knew what it was.
No, they didn't really explain it, but you know, just based on what he talked about in regards to this cycle of it's the Jedi who wins, and then the Empire, then it's the Jedi again. It's this battle between good and evil. It sounds to me that Balin is looking to find a balance, right? Just
He
like the
wants to
father.
kind of be the father.
Exactly. Just like the father wanted a balance between his son and daughter. So you're right. Something is there that's connecting the Mortis gods to where he is. I don't even know if we're ever going to find the answer out, unfortunately,
Yeah.
because of Ray Stevenson. But maybe it might be a good reason to keep Shin around, because maybe Shin might continue her master's journey. I don't know exactly how they're going to write it, but it may not be Balin who gets there. Maybe he fails on the way and doesn't quite make it, and then it's up to Shin to actually pick up the mantle and maybe, for her master, just get to the world between worlds, if there is one that does exist, that will somehow bring balance to the Force. I don't know.
Mm.
That seems like a big
All
ask
right.
from Shin, but who
Looks
knows?
like a question from
Yes.
Alex. This may be a better question for later, but do you
Yeah.
think Balin will be recast? I know, honestly, I don't think there's a need to bring back Balin in a sense. Like, he served his purpose, he's off on his journey. We don't really need him from a storytelling perspective. But, on the other side of that, they're all on the same planet. So they might CGI him, but if they're doing a lot of big action scenes, like you know how with Luke when he was CGI'd in, he was wearing his hood for most of that for most of that scene where he was taking out the dark troopers, so that the stunt double could step in and fill out the role until Luke needed to take off his hood. So I think they might like do something like that, but the only thing is they can't do that for 8 episodes of a second season. So something's gonna happen to Balin, whether that's they write him off or he perishes. And I feel like writing him off might actually be the more plausible option, given how the season ended.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Yeah, Alex. I don't think they will recast. For one reason is that Balin, although he's a very intriguing and probably one of our favorite characters in the series, he's not the main character. So I don't see a need to actually recast someone like a Balin Skull. I think yes, he had a mission that
I
would
think
have
he
been
served his
carried out
purpose.
had Ray Stevenson uh, was still here. But now that he's gone, I don't think they need to extend his journey. Like I said earlier, I think they can just give that to somebody else to do whatever, you know, whatever path Balin was trying to follow. They can have somebody else follow that path for him.
Mm-hmm.
So no recasting, I don't think, in my
So
opinion. Yeah.
let's get to Ezra. So Ezra
Yes.
steals the armor of one of the troopers,
Yes, he's
and
done that before.
yes, he
Yeah.
has.
Yeah.
He has a collection of that. He prides himself on that stuff.
Yeah.
And he takes off. He takes a shuttle and he leaves. And
Okay.
he ends up meeting the rebellion. And after 10 years, he meets Hera again. But my problem is it's not the same anymore because they have Hera, they have Chopper, they have Zeb, but they don't have Sabine and they don't have Ahsoka.
Well, right. Okay. Yeah. They're all not together, but
By the way, Ezra, Ezra, how did Ezra manage to get off of the ship?
yeah.
Like, did he get off
Good
at?
question.
Did he get off at Dathomir or did he get off at Peridia?
They skipped over that part.
Yeah, exactly. For this reason,
I don't think we're ever going to find out how he got that ship.
because
And
however he did it, he probably remembers the route.
yeah, well, true, right? Yeah, he put in the coordinates. Yeah,
Here, let me
but
Google something real quick.
yeah, they're not going to explain it. It's just one of those things. Okay, it happens. We don't need to know how he got it. He just got it. I was thinking about Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the scene, if you've seen it, I'm spoiling it if you haven't, but when Indy decides to go after the Ark, he needed to find a ride, right? This is exactly the part where he says he's going after the Ark, and Salah asks him how, and Indy says, "Well, I'm making this up as I go." And then in the next scene, you see Indy on a horse coming out of a tent. Why was the horse inside the tent? Nobody knows. Nobody asked. But he took off after that arc, and it's a classic scene, right? So some questions, you just don't get answers to. So that's all right. So Ezra finally got on the ship. He got on the ship. He escaped, and he went back to the New Republic base, the Rebellion base, and it was a wonderful moment. Actually, it's my favorite moment of the episode when Ezra and Hera lock eyes, after 10 years. They have not seen each other. Hera didn't even know if he was still alive, right? But then all of a sudden you see this trooper, get off the ship, and, glasses are drawn, and he takes off the helmet slowly, and it's Ezra. He says, "I'm home." And I thought that was really, really touching, because last week, again, I didn't know if Ezra was going to make it, just something just seemed doom about him trying to get home and not making it, but he's home, which is good because now that he knows, now that he's home, he can help the New Republic find Sabine and Ahsoka, right? So that's good. Somebody's home now. Unfortunately for Ahsoka and Sabine, they're back with the naughty, hanging out with the naughty. So
Yeah, the Noti.
the naughty. All right. Q&A. We have. Is there a possibility of Shin teaming up with Ahsoka in the gang?
Maybe, but I don't think Shin's gonna want to do that considering how she ran away when they tried to help her.
Yeah.
And
Now,
by the way, I don't think ships have a maximum hyperspace jump. In theory, since they can run out of fuel, they should have a maximum jump distance, but it's never been set. And
okay.
that's annoying because I don't understand how it is that Peridia is so far on the edge of the galaxy that you can't hyperspace jump to it.
Yeah. And I was very surprised that Shin was even still on the planet because when last episode, Ahsoka extended her hand to say, hey, you want to, come with us, we can help you. And then she runs off in the other direction. I thought she was heading back to the ship.
Yeah, me too.
But you know what? Then I thought, okay, well, she wasn't going to head back without Balin, because she doesn't clearly do not like the Nightsisters. I don't think she even trusts Thrawn.
She doesn't like witchcraft.
No, no, nothing of it at all. So I think
She'll
she
have
stayed
nothing of
far
the
away
sort.
from it, and she wanted to be closer to her master. And now it looks like she's trying to create her own army of marauders to do what? I'm not sure.
So
Yeah. So
basically, they robbed us of a good ending. Do you want to skip to the end? No.
yeah, we're at the ending. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so they robbed us of a good ending and gave us some sort of bittersweet mumbo jumbo that just landed awfully on me.
Ooh, okay.
So,
All right.
Balin is standing on the fist of the statue of the father.
Yes.
That was cool.
That was
Shin
cool.
unites the Marauders.
Yes.
I don't know
Holds
why.
up the lightsaber.
Yeah, I don't know why she was still on the planet,
Yes.
but she was. Ahsoka and Sabine return to the Noties, and Ahsoka's just like, "Yeah, you gotta accept it. We're
let's move
stuck
on
here." And I'm like, "Since when?
Move on.
Since when?
You're stranded, So I
Like, who told you that it takes 10 seconds to not be upset about the fact that you are stranded on some remote planet that you just got to and just freed your friend from, and he is now on another place, and you can't even escape because nobody will find you and you will die there, and you're supposed to accept that?" And then Anakin's watching over Ahsoka like she did something good.
Yeah. All right, we'll finish this. Let's go to Q&A. Raphael, how are you? All right, good to see you. That's the geeky dad right there. Awesome. All right. I was hoping for a scene with Ezra meeting Jason, but there's always season 2, I guess. Yes. That's one of the reasons why I wanted Ezra to survive, because it just makes perfect sense. He should train
Jason. He's the only available Force sensitive left.
Yeah, I mean, he meets
also Grogu. Yeah, Grogu's not really doing training right now.
Well, no. But at least he gets to see his master's offspring. I mean, that must be so exciting. I want to see that moment when Ezra meets Jason. And he's going to have to convince Hera that he can train Jason to be a great warrior like his dad. But but you're right. I'm glad we'll see it in season 2. I'm sure. But yeah. Yes, he has to train. He has to train Jason.
It was mumbo jumbo.
Yes. Now continue with the ending.
It was mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. So at what part did it get?
It was more mumbo jumbo than Mumbo Jumbo's Redstone videos, and I can't even comprehend that. Okay. I could understand Rick and Morty before I could understand Mumbo Jumbo's Redstone videos.
Okay. All right. So now we talked about Ezra and Sabine. Ahsoka and Sabine are stranded, right?
Yeah, they're stranded.
And they seem very lackadaisical, like, okay, well, hey.
And everyone's just like, we'll just
we'll hang out with the Noties.
Like, it's a normal Friday.
Yeah, we'll have a caravan and, we'll have a campfire. And
I would be having an existential crisis.
Yeah, I would be afraid. It's like,
I mean,
can you imagine not being able to get home? Yeah, right, exactly.
By the way, did they ever realize that they have a ship, and I'm pretty sure that ship is a hyperdrive? Like, they could go other places. They could stop and refuel.
You did bring that up.
This is literally the smartest idea. You could stop in other planets and refuel. I refuse to believe that Peridia is a one planet galaxy that is so far removed from every other galaxy in the galaxy that you can't even jump to another planet with a hyperdrive. I know that it takes a hyperspace ring to get back into, the outer rim and stuff, where you could get to like Coruscant and Dathomir. But I feel like you could at least get to like wild space maybe and then travel inwards.
Yeah. That is a very good point. When they lost, they didn't lose Thrawn, but Thrawn took that ring and went into hyperspace, and he was gone. Couldn't find him.
Yeah, but by the way, I didn't expect that ring to be so big.
Yeah. Why, to your point, why didn't they stop at the next planet to get the ship repaired? Because the ship did need repairs, right? I would expect.
But then again, they flew it anyway.
But yeah, so they went and they follow Thrawn for for a certain point. Chimera goes off into
Oh, and
hyperspace,
you know something
gone,
funny?
but
Thrawn
they
just
return back to the planet that they came from. I just didn't make
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
and Thrawn just loved to talk them. He gave a whole ceremonial speech
Mhm.
about how it was the end of their journey, and he wished they had met face to face, but he doesn't think they ever will. And it's been a good ride. Ah, it's Wikipedia.
Okay. All right. Hello there. All right, Wikipedia. Thank you so much for joining us. How cool. How cool. All right.
Yes,
Yes. All right.
yes, Wikipedia.
Yes. All right. Let us know if there's any other questions or comments. Um,
So yeah,
yes,
like
Alex. Good.
Uh, do you think Zeb and Callus could be involved in a rescue mission for Sabine and Ahsoka? I mean, sure, but they need coordinates, and they don't have that. But I'm sure Ezra would remember the route.
Like I said from last week, I think they need to develop another hyperspace ring, exactly like what Thrawn has, to go back and get them. It was built on the New Republic facility. I don't understand why that's not an option
You
to
know what?
create one. You know,
Long range transmissions. I'm sure they're not reliable, but I'm sure you could put out a broadcast to other planets. And like the Bridgers did this. They put out like a local broadcast. So
yes,
maybe
that's right. I remember
maybe
that.
if
Yeah,
you put out a broadcast that can like reach other planets,
even
then
in
you
another
could
galaxy.
not necessarily in another galaxy, but in that galaxy,
Okay.
and then they can and then ask them to bounce this signal up into say the inner rim, and then like have
Uh-huh.
them keep bouncing the signal up, so that
Until
way
it
by the time
reaches.
it
Yeah,
reaches the rebels, they can get the message because there is no way
yeah.
that the ship's transmission can reach any other planet except ones in their galaxy for where they are. They're kind of stranded.
Got it. Okay. Good answer. All right. So as we wrap up, the last scene, um, Sabine thinks she saw something in the sky. She wasn't sure what it was, and then she walked away. But Ahsoka picked up who it was, and she is being watched by her master,
Of
the
course
one and
she is.
only, the Force Ghost of Anakin Skywalker. So, and I thought that was really touching because what, and it goes back to the conversation with Ahsoka and Sabine, where Ahsoka said, my master never, always believed in me. He never let me down. He was always, the wind beneath my wings. Um, he was, he always had my back. And then here we are, wherever she is, he is, So I thought that was a pretty nice touch to have the last person you see on the screen is Anakin Skywalker, Force Ghost Anakin. So he's going to help her and he's going to guide her to get her back home. I don't know what it's going to take, but I was very,
I need that.
yeah, I didn't think that they're all were
I
going to
need
make it.
that. I was doing
Okay,
research.
we're still doing a show. I didn't think they all were going to make it home, but Ezra's home. All right, that's cool. All right, so
Oh,
we're
Lordy.
going to wrap it up here. So now I think that is it for Star Wars for
And we
2023.
have Loki tomorrow.
Yes, you're right. Thursday. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay, but so Star Wars is done. It looks like for
I
2023.
think I
So
think it's over for the year.
yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I was hoping to see Skeleton Crew at the end of the year, but it
Yeah, I
doesn't
don't
look
think
like
they're
that's going to
even
happen.
doing
Yeah.
Skeleton Crew until like spring of next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I hope it's not that long, but I think the problem is that because of the actor strike, yeah, Skeleton Crew. If you don't know, that's the new series that's being executive produced by Dave Filoni and John Favreau. Um,
Happy
it
Hogan.
Yes, and it still ties to the Ahsoka and Mandalorian because it's happening in the same timeline. So that was going to be the next Star Wars series, and it's a brand new series, new characters as far as we know. But if to promote something like that people have never seen or heard of, you need the actors to go out there and promote and
And
talk about it.
actually be actors, like tell us when this show's coming out. Like, there was no hype for Skeleton Crew to begin with because I don't think there was that much interest even at the beginning. And the fact that it's been a year
Yeah.
since it was announced and we've had absolutely nothing, and the show was already under the radar. So honestly, if I'm Lucasfilm, I'm pushing this as much as possible because it's kind of the show that nobody was trying to watch. But as long as we can make the marketing great, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, even at this point, we don't even have a trailer. So I
exactly.
really
You
think,
don't even have a
once,
summary.
yeah, once, well, not really. Yeah. So once the
We
the
got a
actor strike,
cast.
the actor strike is over, I think there'll be more movement. You'll hear more about Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte.
And it also took
But
a year to announce the cast.
that's true.
They came
Yeah,
out
they're
in
really keeping
London.
us. They're keeping us close to the vest. We
Like
have no idea what the show
we're
is
just
about.
getting yearly updates on
Yeah,
this show that people weren't really ready to tune into, but I really do think that they need to promote this more because I'm
yeah.
interested in Skeleton Crew.
So am
I'm
I.
looking forward to it,
Yeah,
but it's not like Star Wars' biggest project. It's not an Ahsoka or a Lando show,
yeah,
It's something new. It's a new direction.
yeah. All right. Well, so looking forward
My
to
armor.
Skeleton Crew whenever it happens. Wikipedia says with the ongoing strikes, too, a lot of them aren't actually allowed to comment or promote them. That's
Well,
right.
I
Yeah,
figured, but
exactly.
like,
Well, yeah,
I'm not. I mean, we just haven't been getting any news. The writers' strike is over, though, so I feel like the writers might want to do some promotions. But
yeah. Well, you don't have the writers promote a show; it's the actors who promote the
I know.
show. Yeah.
But
So
people gotta write the tweets to promote the show.
okay, I got you. But it's Skeleton Crew. Like I said, you need the actor because people have no clue what this is about. Jude Law is the only star, as far as I know, in the show. So if he's not promoting it, then it's a waste of time. So you just gotta wait. All right. Okay. All right. So
What? That,
that
that's
is
all.
so that is it. All
By the
right.
way,
So
guess what color my lightsaber is?
we've seen it already. It's red,
No,
orange.
it's blue.
It's not blue.
It's
I can
blue.
see. Is that blue? No, that's
Guys, look, it's a
that's
blue
you just hit me
lightsaber.
in the ear. You singed my ear.
Are you Doctor
Ouch.
Pershing?
Yeah. It's like close, like I'm not like Ezra. I don't have any hair, so all right. Final questions or comments
Remember
before
Dr.
we
Pershing?
close.
He got his ear grazed, and that's still there.
Oh, poor Dr. Pershing. This is
We
how
don't
we've
even know what
gotten.
happened to him.
No, we don't. This is how we've gotten the situation where right now the Kyners are basically the only people allowed to talk Ahsoka. Wow, how about that? We would love to have the opportunity to speak with the Kyners. Ah, wouldn't that be nice? That would be special. Let's see. Key, what character should we tweet about?
What do you mean?
No, any character. Let's pick a character.
Ahsoka.
There we go. Ahsoka. All right.
Ahsoka.
Yeah.
You gotta do Ahsoka.
That's
Well,
pretty cool.
please, 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 please,
Thank you,
please.
Wikipedia. Thank you so much. Your lightsaber is cool, Keith. He singed my ear, Alex. It's not cool. It's my ear is burning.
It's very hot. This lightsaber
yes.
is very hot.
Yes, it is. It is. So, all right. So, final thoughts about this overall season. Now, I mean, all right. Tell me your overall thoughts about the episode. Like, was it a good one? Was it could have been better? And then talk about how you felt about the entire series. Or I can do it.
I mean, I like the series.
Yes.
I give it.
Okay, keep going.
What? What? Are we having an
Evander
ear battle in the comments?
Oh man. I can still hear out the other ear. Thanks.
Yeah, Alex and Wikipedia have a
Evander-
rap battle about ears
Evander
right now in the
Holyfield.
comment section.
Wow. Okay. All right. You don't know the story about that. We'll talk about that offline.
Who?
Yes, he's a boxer. Trust me. We'll talk about it offline.
What, did somebody punch his ear off?
Keith, overall thoughts about the series? Did you enjoy
9
the
out
series?
of 10. The
9 out of
ending
10.
was awful, but everything else was amazing. Like, they left us on, like fanatics say, they left us with too much
Of
to
a
be
cliffhanger,
desired.
Yeah.
And the
They didn't answer a
cliffhanger,
lot of our
like,
questions.
the cliffhanger is supposed to get you excited for what comes next.
Yes.
I'm anticipating it, but like it was too much, like too many unanswered questions,
Yeah.
and it was too far for me to like care anymore, if you know what I mean.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
they just, I mean this in the nicest way possible. They took a bunch of beloved characters and they trapped them on some faraway planet for Dave Filoni knows how long, and we're just kind of waiting. Like I'm not bad mouthing
Yeah.
Ahsoka,
No.
but
No.
this ending, I'm not a fan.
Okay. That is fair. That is a fair assessment of what you did. I think you did very well. Very well. I agree. I did believe that it was going to be a cliffhanger because it just seemed like when you got to episode 7 and you still had the same questions you had
What?
in episode 1 unanswered. Chances are they're not going to answer it in the last episode. So yes, so you're right. So it was a cliffhanger. Um, we just have to wait to see. I think there will be a season 2. I would be not. I would be surprised if there was no season 2.
Yeah.
So we just gotta wait. That's all, But at least we got something to talk about, and I'm sure that we'll still be talking about Ahsoka from now until the end of the year. So this is good. All right, we have really getting really getting an earful. All
Here,
right,
here.
all right. We got the ear jokes going. All right,
I hear what you did there, Alex.
there you go, Alex. All right, wonderful, wonderful.
I'm hearing a lot of comments in the chat
Yes.
about,
Yeah.
hearing.
I need to go to the emergency room, and people are laughing.
Don't worry,
All right.
we'll get the med kit in a
Okay.
minute.
All right.
I'm gonna grab the back to spray later.
All right. For final comments, as we're waiting for final comments, where can people find us, Keith?
You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, our socials, our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fathers and Galaxy, website fathersandgalaxy.com. Check out our merch store, fathersandgalaxy.myspreadshop.com. Please buy some merch. You will look drippy in our new merch. We have the good drip. Did you get it?
I do not get it. A good drip. I have no idea.
Drip.
Okay.
Drip. It's like fashionable clothes. The drip.
Drip. That's the
Good,
term
good
now.
clothes. Drip.
Okay. All right. Okay. Whatever you say.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And donate to our Patreon page, patreon.com/fathersandgalaxy.
Okay.
Please.
All
We're
right.
trying to go to Japan, everybody.
Yeah. 2025.
That sponsorship money isn't covering everything.
Okay.
It's covering a total of half a cent.
Oh boy! All right. Alex is asking about our Sunday live stream. We hope so. We're going to be switching over to Loki, right? Season 2. Yeah. So stay tuned, Alex. We'll absolutely send a tweet to let you know whether it's going to be, bless you, whether it's going to be this Sunday or not. But okay, so we're moving on.
It's gonna be lit.
Now it's Marvel, all right. And then at the end of the year, we're going to get What If season 2, right?
We gotta hit it with Loki. Come on.
All right.
Come on.
Yeah. Hope to see
Come
you all
on.
in
We
Japan.
gotta do great. We gotta hit this one out the park with Loki.
Yeah. Same here, Wikipedia.
Kiwi Kwan, come on.
Oh, Kihip Kwan. I can't wait. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. This was wonderful. This was fun. Check back. Just keep your notification on, and we'll let you know about Sunday. Okay. So until next time.
Oh, by the way, I think we might review The Flash.
The Flash?
Yeah, The Flash.
What are you talking about?
The Flash. You ever heard Zoom speak? He's terrifying. He's like, I want to steal your speed.
Okay. I don't know how you were able to drop the Flash into this episode.
I can drop the Flash into anything.
Oh my goodness.
Carlos Valdez, if you're watching this, please be on our podcast.
Okay.
Please.
Well, there you
You're
go.
the best character on the Flash.
Shout out to Carlos. Okay. Catch y'all later. Thank you so much, everyone. So
remember me from Chicago?
okay. All right. We'll get in
I
contact.
gave you a business
Remember,
card.
there is an actor strike, so he may not talk to you until the actor strike.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right, everyone.
That's kind of
Is that it now? So until next time, take care.
And we will
see you again.
I'm going to go grab the back to spray later.